Now, when we need to have multiple fields in the database, for example, we have books, authors, their orders, these different collections. So one way to do is to make embedded documents. We can have multiple documents inside of a single document. Another way is to do it by reference. We need to create different collections, for example, different collection for books and different collection for authors, and when we need to connect them, we can give the object id of one collection into the other collection. So we have multiple relations also, one to one, one to many to one, and many to many. So here we have different examples to look for the relations, and we will see which method is better for a particular example, embedded documents or using the references. So here we create a new database hospital, and we insert one patient into it, into the patient's collection. So this has name, age, and disease summary. So here we give an object id sam1. We give this our own id to this patient, and then we create another collection here for disease summary, and here we give again the same id. We create the id here, and then we give reference of it into the patients. So when we fetch their particular patient, we get the diseases that that particular patient has. So here we write the diseases. So this is a method of using reference to relate two collections here. So for different applications, for different programming languages, we have different methods to store this in a particular variable. Here in shell, we use var variable. So we create a new variable and store the disease summary into it. Use this find one for the patient and dot disease summary to get the disease of a particular patient. So we store this in this variable, and then we use that variable to find the disease summary of that particular patient whose id is stored here. So we get this disease. We use this variable so that we don't have to write the complete ids every time. But here, since this is a one-to-one relation, like one patient has his own disease summary, so this is a one-to-one relation. By using this reference, this will create additional steps which we don't need. We can just use embedded document to connect these two fields of the patient and disease summary, which will save our time and space. So like this, we just create this patient's collection, and then we insert this patient along with a disease summary. And here we have a new document for diseases. So again, we just display that, and here we have disease summary. So this method is better for this particular case. Most of the times in one-to-one relations, this is the preferred method. But sometimes even in one-to-one relations, we still need to see, we still need to use, we still need to use reference methods because if we want to fetch a certain data of one collection, so then if we want to analyze something in one of the fields, so it is better to use references and create two separate collections. So if we want to fetch one collection, we don't necessarily need the complete details of the another collection. So in that case, we can use references. So here, for example, we create new database, car data, and we have persons collection here. Insert a name and And then we create this embedded document inside of that to give the details of the car. So we have this displayed here. And then for the same case, if we want to use references, we delete this person collection, and then we again insert, and then we create a new collection for cars. So here we have model, price of the car, and then we give the object ID of that owner whose car is this as a reference. So this is another way of doing it by using references. And this is a one-to-many relation. One person can have multiple cars, but one car cannot have multiple owners. So here also we can use both of these methods. Here we use embedded document method, and then we use reference. It's depending on the case, whatever the case is. And now here we create another database support. For example, Udemy support, we have questions, question threads, and answers to the questions. So here we create a new collection questions, insert one, create a question, and for answers we give references. For example, we have two documents in the answers collection that we then create. Insert many, we use the ID, we create our own ID here, and we give the answer text, and then we reference the same ID here. So this is a many to many relation. So here we have multiple questions and multiple answers. So first we have this reference method that we just saw, but in this particular case, this is not necessarily needed. When we want to fetch a question here, we also need to fetch the answers along with it. So we can just use embedded documents here to do it more efficiently. So then we delete this collection, and then again we create this and insert answers as an embedded document inside an array, and inside of this document of questions collection. So we just display this, and we have questions and answers inside of that. So it depending on the application, whatever our need is, we can use both the methods here. For example, when we have books and authors, so if we give author details inside of an embedded documents inside the books collection, and then if we have to change something about the authors, for example the age of author changes every year, so we have to change that in every document inside of the books collection, so that will take a lot of time. So in that case, using references is better, but for certain cases uh, we don't necessarily need to change for every document. Even if we change for that particular collection, so then we can use references. So it depends on each application and what we want to do. Then we create a new database here for city data, and then we insert this, name and location of the city, and then for its citizens, we insert many citizens here. So here we give reference to the city ID, the object ID of the city that was generated here. Just use that for the citizens. Here we have two citizens and display them. So this is the case where we don't, if we want to fetch just the name of the cities, so we don't need the details of the citizens along with it. So it is better to use references method here instead of using an embedded document. And then we create this new database store. We insert products collection, insert a title and price of a product here. And then for customers, we create a new customer here and insert one. And then this is a many to many relationship. Here we can have multiple products and multiple customers. So we create this, and then we create another orders collection in which we reference both the product object ID and customer object ID. So we use the randomly generated ID here of both products and customers. So this is like the case of MySQL where we use join to join two tables with the ID. So this is the case of using references for many to many relation. Here now we drop the collection of orders. If we want to just use these two collections to relate them, we have these products and customers collections for now, and then we just use update one to add the orders document inside of the customers collection. We give the product ID, the object ID of the product, and quantity of the product in the order. We use customer dot find. So we see this. We have the product ID inside of an orders object here. Here also we use this. Also, if we just don't want to use the reference here, so this is the method of using embedded document. We have the complete order details inside of the customers document here. Inside of the customers collection, in this update one document, we use these complete details of orders here. So we can use this method also. Even if we change the some details about a particular product, for example, the title of the book, we don't necessarily need to change in every document in the orders. So here embedded document will still be fine. Now we create a new database, book registry, and create a new collection books. Insert the name and author. On the name and author, inside author we create an array to give the name and age of the authors here. So this is the case of an embedded document. We display this. Then if we create another collection of authors, insert many, we give the details of the authors here. So this is the case of embedded document. Here we use reference of the authors inside of this books collection. We use $set method to add these object IDs inside of the books collection. So here we have the author ID inside of the books collection. So if we want to fetch the author of the books here, we can use this reference. And now to relate different connections, we want to reduce the steps here. We have this aggregate function. Aggregate is a framework that we will study later. But just to see this lookup method, this is a particular method in aggregate framework that we use to connect multiple collections here. So it has four fields. First is from. So from which collection we are fetching. So here we have in the books collection, we are using this lookup function. So from authors collection, we are fetching the data from authors, and then the local field, the field from which we are fetching the data, and then the foreign field, uh, the the field where we want to connect it to. So ID, because here we created this ID and then we give object ID of the authors. We want to connect it using ID here. So before ID as this is the name of the which will be displayed. And then we press enter, we get this. We get the name, author, and the author details, and then we get this another creators. We get this document here with ID and name, age. This is the author details that we get. So this is an aggregate function that we can use, which will be better than using just the reference method, but it will still be taking more steps than embedded documents. So if we don't need to use multiple collections, we can still use embedded documents. But if we want to use multiple collections according to the needs of our application, we can use this over the reference method. Now, if for an application, we want to create a blog where we have users, where we users and the posts of the users and comments, etc. So we create this uh, blog database and we create users collection. We insert many with name, age, and email, and then we create a post collection with title, text, tags, and then here we give the object ID of the user which will be creating this post. As creator, we give object ID of this first user, Max here, and then we have this comments. We have another document here. We use this array to display this comment, and then the author of this comment. We give object ID of that particular user, which is this second user Sam. And this we get this title, text, tag, creator, and the ID and comment the particular ID of the person that commented. So we can fetch the details of the both the users using this ID here.